Hello and welcome to the very first test drive on this channel. My name is JK47 and today, as you saw, I'll be testing the McLaren P1, the Ferrari and the Porsche 918. These three cars are some of the most brilliant hypercars to ever be put in production. And as you saw on the Grand Tour, Richard Hammond, Jeremy Clarkson and James May tested these cars in Portugal. Today I'm heading to the Via Laguna circuit in Italy, which is one of my favourite tracks in Assetto Corsa. I believe this is the best sim to test out these cars, so we'll use this sim to see which car is the fastest and see if the Grand Tour was correct in stating the Porsche 918 was the fastest of the three. So I'll start by showing you a lap of this brilliant circuit. Each sector will be taken with each of the cars. So here we are, we're in the McLaren P1, which is, in my opinion, the best car of the three. It's the best all-rounder. It doesn't necessarily have the best aero, the best low-speed turn-in. I think it's the fastest in a straight line, but it's got a good balance of everything. And the track is nice, as you can see, some high-speed section at the start of the circuit, then we get some middle speed corners in the middle of the circuit as we come aboard with the Ferrari. There's those slow to medium speed corners, and the Ferrari, it's not its strength. I believe the Ferrari's strength is its aerodynamics. I think it's got the best aerodynamics of the three, and as you can see on this lap, I run a little bit wide. With the Ferrari, a little bit wide there. It's very tempting to take that corner full throttle, but you can't because the car will just understeer wide. It's not as good as an open wheeler. But the Ferrari, to drive at least, is my second favourite car. Good aero and it's nice to drive. Now this is the Porsche 918. In my opinion, as you saw a bit there, it's not my favourite car. It's got a lot of understeer, and I think that's due to the four-wheel drive system on the car. It's because the McLaren and the Ferrari are rear-wheel drive. The front wheels only do the steering, where the Porsche 918, all four wheels do some sort of steering. But more on that on the laps. Before I get into the laps, I want to show you this moment. For each car, I did 5 laps of practice. And this happened on my very first lap in the McLaren. Just got a little bit too quick into the slow speed second gear corner, and the rear just rotated on me. And I just drive away as normal. So while we look at a replay of this and the end of this bit, I'll tell you how it worked. I as I said, did 5 laps of practice in both cars, and then I gave myself 1 lap around the circuit to see. To push the car as hard as I could. As you can see there, just a little lost rear end, and then overcorrected a little bit rather than an embarrassing spin. So yeah, 1 lap each of these cars to see how they cope under pressure, and yeah. So we're about to get started, and the first car on the chopping block will be the Ferrari. Here we go, we're about to start the lap. We'll start on the replay cameras. Coming through the final corner. This is a third gear corner in all 3 cars, and coming to start the lap now. As I said earlier, the Ferrari's got really good aerodynamics in my opinion. I made a little bit of a mistake coming to the first corner, and I hit a minimum speed of 212 kilometers an hour. I'll bring that up in a minute, but I made a little bit of a mistake. I didn't go as far to one side as possible. Hard on the brakes here. The car is good. The power delivery is the problem with the Ferrari. It isn't as smooth as the Porsche or the McLaren. It wants to kick out a bit, as you saw in the intro shot with the Ferrari. It just kicks out a bit in the rear. Coming down to here. Now I found these 600 corners the most difficult, just to find the braking point on the track. I broke a little bit later in this corner, which means I run wide, and even though I run wide, I still got a bit of oversteer, and that's when I applied the throttle. You miss the apex of that bit. You really don't want to run wide. You hit those curves. I was driving the tattoos earlier, and that really punishes you if you run over that thing. Yeah, now into the slow speed stuff. Now the Ferrari, in my opinion, it was the worst of the slow speed stuff. Mostly because of the power issues it's got. It's got too much power, and anytime you're on the throttle, it does that. It completely kicks you around if you're not careful. So through the slow speed stuff, it's a bit of a handful, but it's not too bad in the middle and high speed stuff. So all in all, the Ferrari is a good car to drive. It's a fun car to drive, just because rear end's coming out all the time. As you're coming to finish the lap in the Ferrari will come across the line, and I won't tell you the time until the end of the video. Next up is the Porsche 918. This is the car that obviously we had to buy separate to the game, and it was the car that I was the most disappointed with. Again, third gear through there. The aerodynamics didn't feel right on the car. There wasn't as much downforce as there was on the McLaren or the Ferrari. And you'll see this in a demonstration through the first corner. As I go through it, I hit a minimum speed of 196 kilometers an hour, which is quite a lot less than the Ferrari. That's 16 kilometers an hour less through there on the Ferrari. And as you can see throughout the lap, it's got a lot understeer. But the upside is, pop that one over there. The upside is, it's very good on the throttle. It's very smooth, and you can predict what it's going to do. If you kick it out, if the rear end kicks out on you during lap, it's probably because you've put too much throttle on it, not because it's not smooth. Coming through, that was probably one of my best runs I did in the Porsche through there. And through here, I get a little bit wide, brake a little bit late, but again, I broke at the same point in the Ferrari, and the Porsche just understeers off. I do think it's because of that four-wheel drive system. That's a very fun corner. And as you can see, just turning in, understeer. Even though in the slow speed stuff it is pretty good because of the four-wheel steering, but there's still an element of understeer in these sections. And as you can see, I'm trying to use a bit of lower gears to get the rear end turned. Like this is third gear, so yeah, the cars. So yeah, the Porsche was most underwhelming. I'm sounding down because it was a bad car. It wasn't as good as the McLaren or the Ferrari, but it's still a good car to... It's not the most fun because there is a lot of understeer, but it's still a good car to drive. And once again, I'll tell you lap time at the end of the video. Finally, we have the McLaren P1, which is my favourite car to drive. Really good fun. Turning into the final corner, third gear, as it is all these cars. And let's get on with the lap. As you saw, I lost the rear end a little bit coming through there. Just getting a bit eager to start my 100 lap in this McLaren. Coming through turn 1, let's have a look at the minimum speed. Minimum speed of 209 kilometers per hour. So which is just really, again, reinstating the fact that the Ferrari, in my opinion, has got the best aerodynamics. But the McLaren is the best overall, in my opinion, to drive. It's got a good mix, whereas the Ferrari is good in high-speed corners, got a lot of downforce, but it's bad in slow speed stuff, where the Porsche is a bit the opposite. The McLaren isn't as good as the Porsche or Ferrari in their strengths, but it makes up for it when it is combined with the fast and slow stuff. If that makes sense. It's got very good all-around grip. If you run a little bit wide, hit the curbing, and that's going to cost me a little bit of time. None of these laps are perfect. Actually, I do think they were quicker than my practice times, but none of these laps were perfect lap times. You'd be able to find a couple of tenths if you've got the same level as me, and if you're an alien, obviously you'll find 1 or 2 seconds. So, yeah, it's a very good test of these cars, putting under one lap. And through here, just reiterating what I said with the Porsche, it's third gear through there, and you saw on the Ferrari lap was third gear through there. And in medium to high speed corners, the Porsche just had too much understeer to be competitive, unfortunately. So here comes the McLaren on the final line, across the finish line, and to finish its lap time. Now it's time to see which car is the fastest. And here are the results. The McLaren P1 did a lap time of 1:38.337. The Porsche 918 did a lap time of 1:36.769, and the Ferrari LaFerrari did a lap time of 1:39.825. Even though the Ferrari came last, it In my opinion, it's the second best car, but the lap times speak for themselves, and the Ferrari probably lost too much time drifting out a bit on the exit corners to be as quick as the 19. But this was a surprise. 1.4 seconds lap faster was the McLaren compared to the Porsche. 1.5 seconds from the McLaren to the Ferrari. So it was very close between the Porsche and the Ferrari, but the McLaren, as I said, felt the best all-round car to drive, and I really did enjoy driving the McLaren. I enjoyed driving the Ferrari. The Porsche was a bit of a difficult car to drive. But yeah, apart from that, that's the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed very first test drive on this channel. Let me know what you want to do next, what you want me to do next in terms of test drive. Do you want me to go on Dirt Rally? Do you want me to go on F1 2016, Project Cars, Forza Horizon 3? I want to keep this more simulation based. But if you want to see me do Forza Horizon 3 content, I'd be happy to do it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.